Hi, I'm Kathy and welcome to my kitchen. Tonight I'm going to share with you two super easy recipes for side dishes that you can serve at Thanksgiving. A lot of times as a cook, we're the ones spending a lot of time in the kitchen, cooking the turkey and the ham and all the side dishes. So I'm going to share with you two recipes that are super easy and super tasty. The first one is going to be the corn casserole. And this has been around for many years and everybody loves it. It's almost like dessert. It only takes a few ingredients and you mix it up and you pop it in the oven, and then when it's done and the turkey's done and everything else, it's so delicious. The second recipe I'm going to share with you is a stuffed portabella mushroom. This is a great option for your vegetarian guests. You have a nice size portabella mushroom and you just put the herb stuffing on top and some cheese, and it is delicious. Easy to make, doesn't take a lot of time, and your guests and family are going to love it. So let's get cooking. There is not a lot to these two side dishes. Basically, these are the ingredients. For the corn casserole, you're going to need a Jiffy Corn Muffin mix, sour cream, butter, 1 can of corn, and 1 can of cream corn. For the stuffed mushrooms, I have these beautiful portabella mushroom caps, some celery, white onion, chicken broth, or you can use vegetable broth, and I have a bag of herb seasoned cubes stuffing and a bag of Parmesan cheese. First, you're going to take a whole stick of butter and you're going to melt this. I'm just going to pop this in the bowl and stick it in the microwave for a minute to melt that butter down. Then I'm going to take some spray oil and a square pan and spray the sides. This is what you're going to pour the cornbread mixture in. Now that the butter is melted, I'm going to whisk in 2 eggs. And 1 cup of sour cream. Just take a hand whisk and mix all that up until it's all mixed together. It'll be a nice creamy texture. After you've done mixing these ingredients together, you're going to add 1 can of corn. Make sure you've drained the water out of the corn. And then you're going to add 1 can of cream corn. Stir that in all together. Next, you're going to take a box of Jiffy Corn Muffin mix and add the dry ingredients into the wet ingredients and stir it around. Make sure you're incorporating all of the dry mix into the batter. I like to use the mix that has honey in it. It adds a little sweetness to it, and I don't have to put sugar in, and it's so yummy. Next, I'm going to take this batter and pour it into the square baking pan that I remember already sprayed with some spray oil, and just pour all of this goodness into the pan. You're going to bake it for about 45 to 50 minutes at 350 degrees, or until it's done. And when you go and take it out of the oven, if the center is still jiggling, you need to put it back in the oven for a few more minutes. And that's all it is. Very simple and very delicious. Hey guys, if you find value in this video, please remember to give me a thumbs up, share the video with your friends, subscribe, and don't forget to hit that little bell so you get a notification of my next video. It really helps me out and supports my channel, and I appreciate you watching. Next, we're going to make the stuffed portabella mushrooms. I am going to chop up a whole white onion into small pieces. And then I'm going to chop up 2 stalks of celery. Now that I've chopped up the onions and the celery, I'm going to take a half a stick of butter, and I've got a mixture of sea salt and pepper. I'm going to take the half a stick of butter and put it into this hot pan and let it melt before I add the other ingredients. Next, I'm going to add in the chopped onions and let that cook for a bit. I like a simple herb stuffing, and basically I just like the onions and the celery and the pre-seasoned herb stuffing mix. Now I'm going to add in the chopped celery. And just stir that around and let that cook for a little bit as the onions and the celery get a little bit tender. Then I'm going to add thyme, some dried thyme. Just sprinkle that in. It smells so wonderful. The herbs and the onions and the celery, and of course the butter. And then I'm going to add a pinch or 2 of my salt and pepper mixture. I have sprayed the mushroom caps on the tops, and I'm going to put them in the oven to bake for about 10 minutes just to draw out the moisture from the mushrooms. You can see I've taken out the stems on the bottom side. Next, I'm going to take some chicken stock, and I'm only going to use about a half a cup. You can substitute this with vegetable broth also. And then I'm going to scoop out 2 cups of the cubed herb stuffing and pour that into the pan. This is great because it already has the herb seasoning in the bread, and I don't have to add any additional, but I always like adding a little bit more thyme. And stir that so that the cubes absorb the moisture from the broth and the onions and butter. And that's it for the stuffing. Now that the mushrooms have been baking for about 10 minutes and the moisture is out of the mushroom caps, I'm going to start stuffing them with the stuffing mixture. And you just layer it on top. The other option, instead of using cubed stuffing mix, you can use the crumbled. It's okay if they tumble little pieces into the pan. And I have some left over, and you probably will too, depending on how many mushrooms you're going to stuff. And that's okay, because some people might not want the mushrooms and they just want the stuffing. Now I'm going to take some shredded Parmesan cheese, and I'm going to sprinkle that on top of each of the mushroom caps. Melted cheese on anything is really good. I'm going to place these in the oven at 400 degrees, and I'm going to bake it for 15 minutes. And then it will be done. Now we have these beautiful stuffed Portabella mushroom caps. They look so yummy. And this golden pan of sweet, creamy corn casserole. Look at this mushroom cap. Isn't it beautiful? It smells so good. I'm going to have to plate this and taste some. There's my nice mushroom cap. And look at this luscious, creamy, golden, buttery, sweet corn casserole. I'm telling you the truth, this is like dessert. This has been really easy to make. 2 sides that you can use this Thanksgiving. Super easy and super tasty. I hope you found these recipes easy to follow. They're really tasty, and your guests are going to love it. Next week, I'll share with you 2 additional side dishes that'll round up your sides for Thanksgiving dinner. Until then, bon appetit. All this cooking, I just need my little bit of wine.